Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our round previews. So in today's video, we are going to be previewing every game from round 11 of the 2022 AFL season, going over my thoughts and my predictions and who I've tipped in these games. So it's a massive round of footy coming up. The second round of Sir Doug Nicholls' round as well. Now, the mid-season draft is held after this round, so some clubs can get in a little bit of fresh blood. Of course, Joanne Newcombe from the Hawks coming via the mid-season draft, so of course you can pick up some very good players from that pool. And then, of course, rounds 12, 13, and 14 are buys. So this is the real big round preview until round number 15 when we'll be previewing that. So yeah, buys are coming up. But anyway, let's get into it. Sydney versus Richmond will kick us off on the Friday night. Sydney are 7th, Richmond are 8th. This is the ultimate battle. This one is really going to tell us who is better in season 2022. Sydney have the advantage being at the SCG. Otherwise, if it was at the MCG, I feel like everyone would probably back in Richmond, but it's at the SCG, so that does make it 10 times harder. I have said Sydney by 16 points. Wouldn't be surprised if Richmond were to upset it, because Richmond's footy's been amazing the past few weeks. We do know that. And Sydney's footy hasn't been as great. Their win against the Bombers was pretty good, but like their losses to Gold Coast weren't very great. And last round against Carlton was ordinary. It wasn't anything special. But Richmond, they've been really good in the past few weeks. Last week versus the Bombers actually wasn't even anything really that special, but they did manage to get the job done. Said Sydney by 16, but again, I feel like this one could go either way. Wouldn't be surprised if it was to go ahead and do so. Anyway, Brisbane versus GWS will be the second game of the round, 1:15 or 1:45 at the Gabba. Brisbane is second, GWS are 14th. GWS's win versus West Coast was, well, pretty good actually. They did get a very good score of 138, which is quite high, quite a high score. And Brisbane, they lost to Hawthorn. I don't really see it as being anything to worry about, or at least not hit the panic button as of yet. The next few weeks will really determine what's going to happen. But back at the Gabba, this is their real safe spot. This is where they can beat any team. And I say any team. They can beat any team at the Gabba. Even if it was Melbourne to go up there, I still do think Brisbane could beat Melbourne at the Gabba. So the Gabba is their best place to play footy. And I feel like there's just a massive win coming in here as well for Brisbane. I'd say 45 plus is a win for Brisbane. I just feel like they will get the job done so comfortably. Because GWS haven't been in the best of form, and I don't think they're going to be great in this game. It's at the Gabba. It's hard to win up there. Brisbane for me. Geelong versus Adelaide at GMHBA Stadium. The Cats pulled apart the Power down there last week, so I don't see the Crows really being much of a chance. Geelong is 6th, and in desperate need of a win actually as well. If they want to make the top 4, they do need to try and get some skates on. Yes, they may be gaming out of the top 4, but that game can be absolutely crucial. That 15th are the Adelaide Crows in the bottom 4. They do desperately need a win. 3 and 6. I almost feel like they've been a little bit better than 3 and 6, but at times they haven't been great. I just don't think it's easy. Going down to Geelong is very hard in the AFL, and being not a great side doesn't make it any easier. Geelong by 43, I think is what I said. So, pretty comfortable Cat win down at GMHBA. Melbourne versus Fremantle now. The twilight time slot at the MCG. This was shaping up as one of the best games of the season back in round 7 and 8 when the Dockers were prime. But now they've really just dropped off. Now, yes, it has been wet weather footy, but do mess up this week. And, yeah, not sure about Dockers anymore after this game. So, not sure about them right now. They haven't been great. They've lost to Gold Coast and Collingwood. Not the best opponents either to do it against. So, I just feel like they're going through a bit of a rough patch. This game is the perfect game to get back to their feet. But Melbourne, well, they're tough. They are tough to beat. And I just don't see it changing. I see Melbourne going 11-0. I don't see him winning comfortably. I only see him winning by 26 points, which is still a decent margin. But I don't know. I feel like Freo will have a little bit of Freo fight in this game. I feel like they'll play for a little bit. But again, I just feel like Melbourne's last quarter real rampage or surge is just way too strong. Yes, it is first versus fourth, but I just see Melbourne being the better team in this one. And the Dockers, they've got a big few games coming up to really determine where they're at. West Coast versus Western Bulldogs is the first Saturday night game in Perth. Now, not the greatest of matchups. West Coast, I just don't see them being a chance. If it was against another opponent like maybe North Melbourne or maybe even Essendon in the West, they could get the job done, but I just don't see them beating the Western Bulldogs. I just see them being zero chance in this game. Now, if they were to pull off the upset, that'd be probably one of the upsets of the season for sure, but I just see the Western Bulldogs being a better side than West Coast. The Eagles, they're just not great right now. They did manage to score 86 last week, but the Giants outscored them heavily. I just feel like the Dogs are a way better team than the Giants and just won't let that happen. And I just feel like West Coast will be restricted to another low score and the Dogs will be able to score high. And it is 18th versus 9th. Not the best matchup. But we head to the other Saturday night game. And I feel like this game, the round coming up here, Gold Coast versus Hawthorn, 12th versus 13th. Footy returns to Darwin, the Northern Territory, Alice Springs, 7:10 or 7:40. Saturday night footy. Now, let's just go over this game. Gold Coast are 12th. And have been playing some good footy in the past few rounds. We can definitely say that. Hawthorn, they're in 13th. They've been a little bit shaky. So, this is a 50-50. I see this one going either way. Would not be surprised in whichever team wins. Margin, I personally see this game being 20 to either team. I do not see this game being a massive blowout just because I just feel like this is going to be a really close game. I just feel like it's going to be really close. Both teams are going to give it their all. And the winner, they're both on 16 points. So the winner has a massive advantage over the other team, of course, as well. And the other team's season does get tougher from there, especially when they're looking to compete for the top 8. I don't feel like either of these teams will be in the top 8, but it just does get tougher. Gold Coast versus Hawthorn, it'll go either way, I reckon. I've said Hawthorn. I actually said Gold Coast beginning, but I changed to Hawthorn, and in the tip it did say Hawthorn as well. I've said Hawthorn. Said Hawthorn to win this one by 15. So I've gone a little bit bigger than what I was originally thinking, but I still think, no doubt, this is going to be a close game. And game of the rounds for me as well. It's going to be a cracker, I reckon. It's going to be an absolute brilliant game. So, may not be between the best teams, but I still think if you're looking for a good game of footy, this is it. St Kilda versus North Melbourne is the next game on starting off the Sunday. St Kilda sit 5th, North 17th. Don't see anything special about this game, to be completely honest. North weren't great last week versus Melbourne, especially in the second half. St Kilda weren't great against Adelaide last week, but got the job done in the final term due to Adelaide's inaccuracy. So, I do see the Saints winning this game quite comfortably. I've set them to win by 51 points, and I'm happy to stick with that as well. So, yeah. I just don't see North Melbourne really competing. St Kilda, though, they've been a team that, well, they're actually equal on points with the Dockers. So if the Dockers lose and they win, which is probably what's going to happen, they will go into the top 4. And in some games, not in every game, but in most games this year, they've been playing like a top 4 team would. So they have been very good. This year have the Saints. And Ryder Marshall combination is so hard to beat. Sinclair's going well. Their whole team is just clicking, so that's amazing to see. And they're having a nice year this year. St Kilda, Collingwood versus Carlton now on the Sunday. In the pretty good time slot of 3:20 or 2:50 my time, 3:20 for Victorians. Collingwood versus Carlton. It is the biggest, or I think it is the biggest rivalry in AFL history. The biggest rivalry. So these two teams, of course, are going to lock horns on Sunday, do battle at the MCG. I do feel like Collingwood are in it more than the ladder suggests. Collingwood's at 10th, Carlton's at 3rd. Collingwood are in this game. They are a chance. They are a chance in this game. They're definitely a chance. I feel like Carlton will win just because they've been better all year. Their wins have been to a brilliant level of brilliant, pretty much. Collingwood's win versus the Dockers, taking nothing away from them. That win was fantastic. That win was great for Collingwood. It was a big win. They needed the win to really stay in touch with the top 8. And after being smashed by the Western Bulldogs the week prior, they did need to respond, and that's exactly what they did do. Carlton, they've been playing good footy for the whole year, except when they had a little bit of a drop-off. They're sitting equal third as well. And if the Lions are to lose to the Giants and they're to win, they'll go second, which, again, probably not going to happen. I don't see the Lions losing to the Giants, but, again, this is a massive game for Carlton. Win this, and I would suggest you'd be not definitely locked in, but you'd be partially on your way to finishing in the top 4. And I would say, I'm saying top 8 for Carlton already. I feel like they'll be making the top 8. And I reckon that the lowest they'll go would be a home elimination final, I reckon. Carlton have been good this year. Collingwood, they've also been pretty good. Well, they've been alright. Carlton, for me, though, in a close game. Port Adelaide versus Essendon ends off the round at the Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide are 11th, Essendon are 16th. I don't see anything really special going on here. I don't see anything crazy. I see it being quite a boring game of football. Collingwood versus Carlton will be better, in my opinion, than Port Adelaide versus Essendon. Port Adelaide weren't great against Geelong. Essendon weren't great against Richmond. So it wasn't a great round for neither of these two teams. So we could be in for a closer game than what we expect. But unless if any upset happens in Essendon's favour, I see it being quite comfortably a Port Adelaide win. Port Adelaide played the Adelaide Oval very well, and I think it's just going to be way too hard for Essendon to upset Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. They haven't been great at all this year, really, have Essendon. So I feel like Port Adelaide will win this game quite convincingly, and their season is in desperate need of a win. After going 0-5, they have had a good response, but they need to win. If they lose their next few games, they're probably out of the finals race. So they've got a massive next few games ahead of them to see where they're at and to see whether finals is a thing for Port Adelaide or not. So this game does actually have a really important role, but I do see Port Adelaide winning quite convincingly. So my tips this round: Sydney, I reckon they'll just get it done over Richmond. But again, wouldn't be surprised if it goes either way. Brisbane over the Giants in not a great game. Geelong over Adelaide in also not a great game. Melbourne over the Dockers in also not a great game. Western Bulldogs over West Coast in also not a great game. The Saturday games, in my opinion, don't really offer a lot until the last game on the Saturday, which is 7:40 or 7:10 my time. Gold Coast versus Hawthorn TIO. Wouldn't be surprised if it was to go either way. I've said the Hawks though, but again, Suns, they could definitely win, but I've said the Hawks. St Kilda versus North, not a great game. I've said St Kilda. Collingwood versus Carlton, I think this is going to be a great game, and I've said Carlton. And Port Adelaide versus Essendon, don't think it's going to be great, and I've said Port Adelaide. So, ladder, we'll go round 12 actually. No, we'll have a look back at round 10. So, round 10, Carlton got over the Swans. The Dogs got over the Suns. Geelong got over the Power. Melbourne/Narm defeated North Melbourne convincingly. The Saints got over Crows. Richmond got over the Bombers. The Giants got over the Eagles, the Hawks got over the Lions, and the Collingwood Magpies got over the Freo Dockers. So, round 12, it starts off the byes. Western Bulldogs versus Geelong, Adelaide versus West Coast, Gold Coast versus North Melbourne, Melbourne versus Sydney, Hawthorn versus Collingwood, and Freo versus Brisbane. Mid-season draft is held after round 11. Big round of footy coming up. Let's go to the ladder. Melbourne are clear on top. They're up by 2 games. Brisbane versus Carlton are equal. Second, with Brisbane second, Carlton third. Freo and St Kilda are on the same amount of points with just 10% separating them, which will look to start St Kilda's climb into the top 4. Geelong, Sydney, Richmond round out the top 8 on 24 points, who are a game clear of Western Bulldogs and Collingwood, who sit on 20. The Power, Gold Coast and Hawthorn sit on 16. And they need wins, those teams. And then GWS Adelaide sit on 12. Their season are over. And Essendon sit on 8. Their season's also over. West Coast North sit on 4 points apiece with West Coast on bottom. So, Gold Coast versus Hawthorn does really decide on who is going to keep going in season 2022, because the loser, it gets very tough for them. And if Port Adelaide were to somehow lose to the Bombers, it'll also get tough for them to make finals. But yeah, the winner of Gold Coast Hawthorn does have a big advantage over the other team. So that's why I personally think it's going to be game of the round. It is a massive game, but it's a massive round of footy, and we start Sydney versus Richmond. So massive round of footy coming up. You guys can let me know your predictions in the comment section. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. So you guys will never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.